Oh, okay. So, but usually I just talk into. There you go. So usually I just kind of talk into here, and I kind of half to the universe and half to anybody that might be listening. But some of this first part is going to be for anybody that might be watching, and then we'll just kind of go from there, see where it goes. I would like to address. I made a GoFundMe, and at some point in the future, I'm going to post the link, the new one. That's the third one. There have been two links to the other two that have not gotten any money yet. Eiffel Tower and the solar power things, they haven't gotten any money yet. But there's a new one that I started about reopening the hospital that's near me. And oh, that one's ridiculous. It's not ridiculous in that I totally want that happening, but it's ridiculous in that if you read the story that I put up, it's ridiculous. I just straight went for it because I was getting pissed off about the other two and just totally not having anybody. So I was just like, yeah, nobody's gonna put any money for it, so I might as well just be like, yeah, screw it. Let's just get a little bit stupid with it. And I just kind of let my fingers fly. Channeled the inner idiot and was like, all right. So if you happen to go and look at it, that's what happened. So don't take it out on the hospital. It's just I am fat, by the way. I'm not like super duper fat. I'm just kind of regular person fat, regular American fat. I mean, like, if I go like to most of the countries in the rest of the world, they'd be like, damn, you're fat, dude. You're like next, next level fat. I'd be like, really? You gotta come to America, dude. You gotta come to America, and also you should have seen me like 2 years ago. And also, you should have seen me when I wasn't this, because I have been like, now I'm like 210. I have been 250, and I've been like 120, 115. So I've been like all over the weight spectrum, and like I wasn't trying to lose weight, by the way. Like I wasn't like on a killer diet or anything. No. Basically, I was like, the whole thing behind me losing that much weight was I was in this whole mind frame of, dude, eating food is wrong. Anything is wrong. And I just couldn't get it out of my head because I was like, factory farming, that was in like when, like, I was just like, factory farming and all this stuff was just like, it's everywhere and blah, blah, blah. And then like, the logical extension of that is, I mean, like, if you're gonna get it, dude, because factory farming, for like cows and chickens and all that stuff, like that's bad and stuff. But like, what do you think agriculture is? Like the 1,000 acre farms. What do you think that is? Do you think corn likes being herded into like thousands of acres and just grown in lines? Like, do you think corn likes that? Vegans? Yeah, I'm sure corn loves that. You high and mighty vegans. You're like, oh, corn doesn't feel pain. It's like, I mean, you know, like I said, get off your high horse. It's life. And so I just had to kind of mentally power through that at some point and be like, well, either keep starving until I die or just be like, screw it. I'm going to eat again. And so I just was like, I guess I'm going to eat. And I was 250 pounds again. Because like, what am I going to do? Move to Europe where they like don't have processed foods? Or they have processed foods, but like they don't have like processed foods plus petrochemical plant inside the processed food. So, because their idea of a processed food is like there's like a processing plant, but like the processing plant is just like, oh, dump your truckload of strawberries here, and we will like have our people pick out the strawberries and like remove the vines and stuff, and then the strawberries will be strawberries. Where ours is like, dump the truckload, and it'll grind it up and make stuff, and then we'll pour our vat of chemicals on it, and they will be preserved, and they'll last like 3 months where we can ship them to America. Oh, and by the way, we're somewhere in the continent of South America right now. No one knows where. Oh, it's going to be stamped made in Mexico. We're not in Mexico. It's just going to be stamped made in Mexico because it's going to be shipped through Mexico. It's going to be in Mexico for about 5 minutes. So it's made in Mexico. So we can like technically not violate the NAFTA treaty or some shit like that. I don't know. They do all these weird things to, put their dick through the loophole of the NAFTA law. Or whatever they're doing. I don't know. They're corporations. They do what they need to do to abide by the bullcrap treaty. Whatever they're going to do. Just like when you buy something organic, it's like, yeah, it's organic. It was organically made out of my butthole. You want something really organic, you're going to have to be like, either grow it yourself in your backyard garden or like get it from your neighbor's backyard garden. That's pretty much the only thing. Pretty much the only way you're going to get really organic in America nowadays. I used to remember what stuff tasted like when we literally had our own backyard garden. And we had strawberries, raspberries, we had corn, we had green beans, cucumbers, Brussels sprouts, squash. I think we had some green peppers. I mean, we had a whole bunch of stuff. We had a whole bunch of stuff. We had like the cornucopia of vegetables and some fruits. We also had an apple tree in our backyard, which for up until my age of like 8 through 10, it produced good enough apples to make some apple pies and stuff. And then it started producing crab apples, so yeah. And there was some asparagus in and around the garden, and asparagus up on the railroad tracks that my dad always went out and cut, and we would go out and cut the wild asparagus too. It was on the railroad tracks in like three or four different places. My dad was like, "Oh, this asparagus is great." I was like, "I hate asparagus, so I never ate it," but he said it was great, so whatever. It was like better than store-bought asparagus. I don't know. That wild asparagus didn't have any pesticides or anything on it, so maybe it was better. Same with our asparagus. No pesticides, no nothing. Same with all of our stuff. My dad made a garden, and the walls of the garden were made out of railroad ties that apparently he grabbed from the railroad tracks and dragged down himself. Because the railroad tracks had piles of old railroad ties that the company would, like, when they would come and fix the railroad tracks, they would rip up old railroad ties and like pile them up in certain piles. So my dad grabbed them and made like a wall for a huge garden. And the garden was made out of, I mean, it was a big garden, and it was walled off by those railroad ties. Tomatoes, we had tomatoes. Big regular tomatoes and cherry tomatoes too. Those were good. Those were way better than way better than any store tomatoes. We kind of always, I mean, the cherry tomatoes especially, those never made it to like the table or anything. They would just we'd pick them and just kind of eat them right there. Same with the raspberries. The raspberries never made it past picking and eating them. Because I mean, it's not like we had like 100 bushes of raspberries. We just had like 2 or 3 raspberry bushes, so we just kind of pick them and eat them right there. Same with the strawberries. I mean, now the strawberries, we kind of pick them and put them in a bowl, and we just kind of eat them in the house. You know, I mean, with a backyard garden, you kind of just most of the time, yeah. But with corn, we had like 2 rows of corn, so that would go with meals, which was kind of nice. Same thing with cucumber, and we had zucchini that would grow huge. So sometimes we had stuffed zucchini, which was interesting. I don't know if anybody's had stuffed zucchini ever, but that's an interesting dish to have. It's especially interesting to have for little kids, because like now when I'm this old, I would probably really like it, but I was okay with it when I was a kid. I was like any young kid, I was a pretty picky eater, especially with vegetables. I really like potatoes, but vegetables. And my sister was always like, my sister and my mom and dad were always on me about me saying, I don't like the fat on like steak and stuff. I would say fat, but what I meant was gristle, the gristle from the steak. because we were too poor to afford really good cuts of steak, so we'd have like really cheap steak, and there'd always be that that gristle and the I don't know the just the kind of nasty chewy ass tendon or whatever it is in like the middle of the frickin' steak. And my mom was very cautious about red meat, so she'd cook it until it was like three quarters to burned, unless it was for my dad, like the steak for my dad would be cooked for my dad, but the ones that me and my sister and her would get would be like burned. She'd be like, "Oh, you're not getting," but my dad would get like the steak the way it's kind of supposed to be cooked. Ours would be like leather because she'd be like, "I'm not getting them thick." Be super cautious about getting us about the red meat that we'd be getting. I think my mom was like me. She hated cooking. I don't think she liked being. Uh, she didn't like the role of being a housewife very much. She was a hippie. I can tell that. Especially because we had pictures of her when she was like mid to late 20s or something like that. And she totally looked like a hippie. Like I could see her being at Woodstock and like totally just gone on acid. But my dad hated his job. I know he hated his job. He hated the fact, he hated the idea. This is what he hated about his job. What he hated about his job is he hated the idea of making the same, he hated the idea of making the same cookie cutter crap for like overprivileged rich assholes. Something worded like that. He's like he was someone that, you know, I kind of I think he would have been a lot happier if he would have been able to if he would have had the balls to kind of start his own business as like an artisan carpenter making um, custom pieces for really high end like rich people or something like that. That rich people that he could have been like a rich person coming and be like, I need a desk, and my dad would have been like, I'm gonna make a desk for you. Don't tell me anymore. I will make a desk for you. You need a desk that for your office. I will make a desk for you. Like the uh, Inigo, how Inigo's father crafted that guy a sword, and he was like, he slaved for months, blah 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 blah. And when he finished, the man came, but at 1/10 the promised price. And my pilot refused. And my dad would have been much happier at doing that kind of thing, because my dad could make very intricate, unique stuff. He made me a computer desk that was kind of a work of art, actually. Um, it was definitely unique, and it was one of a kind, and it was big, it was heavy. It had a pull-out thing for the keyboard, and it was like multi-layered, and it was made from scraps. All of his stuff was made from scraps that he took home from the shop. So, I mean, all of his airplanes were made from scraps. Everything he made at home was made from scrap that he took home. So, I mean, obviously the guy had an ability to take garbage, what the employers thought of as garbage, and make something interesting out of it. And that's another thing that he was bitching about. He all this stuff. My boss gives me crap about taking stuff home that they were going to throw away anyways. And he's like, you need to pay for that. And I'm like, you're going to throw it away, so I'm taking it home. He's like, you've got to pay for that. He's like, no, you're gonna throw it away, so I'm gonna take it home instead of you throwing it away. It's like, if you're just gonna throw it away, I'm gonna take it home. And he'd make airplanes out of them. And if I had any kind of space, I would have taken all the airplanes. But so my dad took him into his nursing home. Finally, when he went into a nursing home, and like I said, I would have taken all the airplanes if I had space. But when he died, my sisters, or not my sisters, my dad's sisters, what they did in their infinite wisdom is gave all those airplanes to the other people at the nursing home. So when they die, all those planes are probably either going to go into the garbage, into some kind of auction, or those planes are going to go to the families of the people. So who knows where those airplanes are? But whatever. If it were up to me, I would have auctioned the airplanes, because you know what? You know what you can do when you want to auction something off? You can just go and take them to an auction and be like, you can bullshit when you do stuff like that and be like, well, part of it would be true, the artist is dead. Let's start the bidding at $200,000. They may only be worth $1,000, but if you start the bidding high enough and lather on a thick enough coating of bullshit, people that are rich enough will pay a high enough price because you're telling them it's worth a lot more. And since there's 12 of them, why sell 12 for $1,000 or $1,500 a piece when you can sell one for $250,000? better. Because all of them were all actually to scale too. So that's another thing. He made sure to build them to scale, which is kind of fucked up, but that they were that good that they're built from scrap. They were built to scale, and they were good. They were polished. They were smooth. They had stands, and the guy was an asshole. So he really fit the bill of an artist, even though he was a total asshole. So don't take it out on the hospital. All right? And I don't have anything of the wood crap that he made instead of being a dad. So, tax rich, kneecap rich, tax wealth, not work, and boo.